Quant recently announced a partnership in which I'm pretty happy to see because they haven't really announced one, I think, in quite a while. But besides that point, nothing I say is financial advice. It's actually regarding an entity in Japan, which I've been to Japan many times, by the way. I even got my watch from Japan, a G-Shock. This is actually also made in Japan. Besides that point, though, it's a GW5000HS, in case someone is wondering. But here's the thing. Quant is partnering with something called Dentsu Soken, and they're partnering to build, for instance, I want to talk about this certain aspect, right? About, again, building programmable settlement infrastructure in Japan. So I find this pretty cool considering that, again, it's kind of like a partnership that they announced, and I'm happy to see it because they don't really announce new partnerships that often, unlike some other projects out there, which I don't mind though, because I feel like Quant oftentimes does focus on more so the quality as opposed to the quantity. Now, when it comes to what they're doing, do I think it's the most fabulous or interesting or fantastic thing of all time? No, I don't think so. I mean, it's all right, but it's not like the best thing of all time. The thing is this, when it comes to Quant, people like to tell me, well, okay, they announced this, but why is it still around 27 times lower than 2 grand, right? Well, the thing is this, I don't think as of right now I've seen an altcoin season. Now, who knows when it could happen, if it ever even could during this cycle, but I'm just saying, sometimes a new partnership, news, or let's say something comes out about the project, if that seems to be positive, but there is no good sentiment when it comes to altcoins, if let's say there's no change in terms of whether or not there's an altcoin season, right? If there's just no things going on when it comes to the altcoin space, it's just going to be pretty difficult to kind of reflect that on the price charts. You know what I mean? So this is why when I take a look at something like Quant, I feel like they're more about building and just staying consistent as opposed to chasing trends or just doing things purely to kind of affect the perception. Because some of the projects out there kind of do that. They announce new partnerships to try to create some attention and all this type of stuff to kind of, I guess, make people not care about the price charts. But to me, I feel like Quant is a bit more serious, right? It takes it more seriously. It's not a project out there just doing things for fun. But the thing is this, why hasn't the thought of 2 grand left my mind quite necessarily when it comes to Quant? Now, it's around 27 times lower than that, but the thing is, the market cap at that point, considering current circulating supply at 2,000, it's just around 24 billion. It's not 240 billion, not 54 billion, again, around 24 billion. Dogecoin reached over 80 billion in 2021. Shiba Inu reached around 40 billion. Is 24 billion that ridiculous? This is the question I like to ask myself. And hypothetically, if the answer was no, it wouldn't surprise me. But also the thing is this, when it comes to Quant, people like to tell me, no one's really going to care about it because they're not focused on anything that interesting. Well, really? Because here's the thing. Quant, if I take a look at the Quant network, right? It's made up of the Overledger OS and the Overledger network. However, the thing is, the Overledger network is made up of the Overledger OS users, so I'm going to kind of skip that a little bit just for simplicity's sake and talk about the Overledger OS because it allows something called a multi-chain application to be built. An application that, as the name goes, is built on top of multiple blockchains instead of just one, which at first glance, people may be thinking, like, who cares? Well, the thing is, a developer may care a lot, actually, because if they're stuck just building on only one blockchain, could you imagine the hindrance that they may have in that sense? Sure, the blockchain could be cool, it could be fast, but I have not found a perfect quote-unquote blockchain. I just haven't found one. So if a developer, can make an application that is built on top of multiple blockchains instead of just one, why not, right? Taking certain aspects from one blockchain and then supplementing the weaknesses of that from another blockchain. Why not? Why be stuck building on only one blockchain? Why be limited? This is the way you take a look at it. It's like, for instance, if someone's good at tennis and they're also good at basketball, why not play both? Now, I'm not saying that it's like always a realistic possibility, but I'm just saying, Deion Sanders played baseball and as well as football. So why not? That's the way you take a look at it sometimes. But besides that point, though, when I take a look at something like Quant, people like to tell me, well, people forget about this project, they don't care about it. But the thing is this, Quant is a top 100 project, right? So it's not like it's not that unpopular. And the thing is, it's just a little bit different from a lot of other projects that I do see just because it's not a project that is necessarily concerned or scared if there's more developers. Because if there's more developers, aren't they trying to help developers quite essentially? That's the way to take a look at it. Because if they're allowing, again, through the Overledger OS, a multi-chain application to be built, isn't that catering to developers? Now, not every single developer is going to care about that, right? Or use it, basically, or even want to create something with it. But I'm just saying, some other projects out there, they're a little bit scared if there's more developers that appear and all this type of stuff. But when it comes to Quant, I feel like it'd actually be a positive, you know? It's like, for instance, if I opened a pizza restaurant, wouldn't I be happier if there's more customers wanting pizza? You know what I mean? Maybe the other individual who has a cheeseburger restaurant may not be too thrilled that pizza has become a trend recently in a make-believe scenario. But personally for me, if I'm a pizza store owner, I'm not going to be mad. I'm going to be happy, if that's the case, actually. But yeah, that's just kind of my perspective right now when it comes to Quant. All I'm doing is just waiting, actually. I can't really do anything more than that. But at least I like what I'm seeing when it comes to Quant, because Quant, again, is just more so of a serious project. They just don't update that much, which, again, it is what it is. I see some other projects out there that even update way less than Quant. But at the end of the day, I'm still a fan. I'm still holding. I'm still waiting. And here's the thing. Even though scarcity is very relative, right? Rarity and all this type of stuff, like people think, okay, some other projects out there have low supply, but if no one cares about it, who cares? Totally aware of that. But just to use as an example, of course, I know that Bitcoin is going to obviously be more popular than Quant forever, I'm assuming. But the maximum supply of Bitcoin, it's 21 million. Take a look at Quant. It's less than 15 million, actually. Depending on where I take a look at it, because for whatever reason, there's like a difference between some places. But besides that, it hovers around like 14.5 million or so. Like even if, let's say for whatever reason, I removed 5 million from the maximum supply of Bitcoin, that's not even the maximum supply of Quant, right? Because 21 minus 5, 16. And then if I take a look at Quant, around 14.5 million, so really around 16 million, it's still even a million more than that. You know what I mean? So that's the way to take a look at it. I'm not saying that, again, this could be as popular as like Bitcoin, but really, I think that, if anything, kind of just gives an example to me in terms of kind of the relatively low supply when it comes to Quant. It doesn't mean much in the grand scheme of things, people may say, but to me, if the project actually has a use case, if the fundamentals are there, and if there's actually like, a dedicated following when it comes to the project, I think sometimes that does matter. This is just my perception right now. When it comes to Quant, I'm going to stay patient again. I'll wait and see, but I'm still holding. And yeah, that's pretty much about it. But I want to say thank you for watching. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you all have a very nice day. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll be sure to make more updated videos when it comes to Quant. It's been Lee the Captain, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.